Blacktooth Island, December 3rd, 1618. I am now at the end of my days. The tears in my head, the truth in my heart, and the responsibility of suppressing them both have surely had a hand in pressing me closer to my grave. I share them now, however, if not to give my life any reprise, then perhaps to give me some peace in my death. It was during the assault led by pirate Captain Jardy on the island we had found inhabited. I was there, I was on his ship, when the first volley of cannon fire struck the stone walls. We had been quiet, real quiet. We tied up the sails and used the oars to bring us in range. It was so dark, we had to feel our way to loading the cannons. There were torches on the top of the guard posts, so aiming was easier. So dark was it that the strike of a flint blinded the few of us manning the guns. It took us longer than we thought to reload. Captain Jardy was standing with us as we fired, and he cursed our clumsy hands as we fumbled around half-blinded. Expecting them to return fire after our second round, we thought we'd struck their guns, but we didn't see any torches or candlelight either. And after our third bout, the captain called a ceasefire and silence to listen for sounds of commotion on the shore. Surely we had done well enough getting close, as we could hear the stones falling from the wounds in the walls. But no sounds of life came from the shore to our ears. The air was thick with smoke and a heavy earthly scent. Jardy called for a small crew to take a longboat ashore to investigate. And if they gave the all clear, we were to join them on shore to begin the looting. The call never came. What did come was a bone-chilling scream, so loud it made my skin taut. It ripped across the smoke-filled air and across the water. It did not sound human. Several men cried out in terror, and one fell backwards, hitting the deck and began pushing himself backward, signing the cross and speaking in another language. We were men of courage, but it's easier to be brave when it's flesh and bone you face. So we fled, and we didn't do it with any semblance of grace as we have come. We tore at the ropes and let go the sails and rowed along with them. As we made our way out the cove, over the sound of the prayer and bravado, the ship fell silent as death as we all began to hear the unmistakable metronomic chiming of a lone bell. It wasn't just that we heard it and it made us grow pale and afraid. It was that we felt it. With each tone, it felt like a nail pinning a sentence to our chest. Looking at each other, I think maybe we thought we might look different. One thing was for sure, we certainly did feel different. It was 3 days until the first man fell asleep after that night. No one could say how long he had slept, only when he woke. Because he screamed like a man on fire and threw himself off the boat into the rolling waves below and never surfaced. It was a long time after that before anyone tried sleeping. We seemed to not need it. Driven by a fear that surpassed psychology, it was more than just a mental state. We were fear. It was in our hearts. and her hearts pumped it throughout her body. Several others had taken their own lives by the time we made landfall. When sleep finally overtook me, I was wandering on the shore near the tavern where we took to shore. I do not remember where I was trying to go or what I was doing before. I fell unconscious, but I remember the dream. It was standing on that island. There were people all around me, buccaneers from the looks of them, like myself. We all stood in a circle, each one looking toward the one across from him, but their eyes not meeting, as if they were staring at something just in front of their face. As we stared at it, it materialized in the center of the circle. A single copper bell hanging from a string on a stick. I gasped when I saw it, but everyone else seemed to have expected it. We stared for the longest time until it began to ring. It never moved. It didn't swing or vibrate at all. It just rang. As it rang one by one, the pirates took something from their satchel and held it in their hand in front of them. One man held a golden coin with the stamp of the king on it. One man held a gold nugget. Another held a small golden foot, seemingly broken from a statue of sorts. As I reached into my own satchel, I felt nothing inside. Horror struck me as I clawed around inside the leather pouch, looking for my token, but it wasn't there. The chiming of the bell began to increase in speed and volume. I pulled the pouch from my belt and peered inside. Nothing. The impatience of the bell was undeniable as the chimes turned into clangs. It now sounded like a cathedral bell as it repeatedly changed motionlessly in the center of our circle. The other men around had wide eyes as they looked at me with a mixture of condemnation and sympathy. They collectively took a step backward as the tone of the bell changed once more, and the rhythm picked up and the tones began to blend together, forming a horrific scream, sounding almost human as it demanded my token. I gritted my teeth as the sound grew painful. When I did, I could feel a tooth slip. I reached as it fell from my mouth. It was blackened and rotten. As I held the tooth in my hand, I looked up at the bell and felt the tooth rise out of my hand to be consumed in a green aura emitting from the bell. But then I felt pain in my fingers and looked down and saw my hand being pulled into the aura as well. I pulled back, but it was too late. My arm was already being consumed. I screamed and looked around wildly, and the other pirates had taken several more steps back, still holding their tokens in their hands with the somber looks on their faces. As it reached my shoulder, I shrieked louder and finally awoke. There was a man standing over me. He had been shaking me, bringing me back from sleep. The dream came afterwards, over and over, the same dream. It got no easier to bear, and no matter how many times I witnessed the bell consuming my hand, the fear that plagued me in my dreams and in my sobriety never lessened. I felt pulled back to the island with every dream. I would sometimes stay awake for days just to avoid dreaming, but each time I would wake up in a cold sweat, lying on a beach as if I was trying to walk back there when I passed out. So I made a decision, one day to go back. Me and 6 of the others, we were all that were left that I could find. As we got closer to the island, I could hear the chime. Not sure if it was in my head or not. Many times a day I could hear it, chiming away its cadence that only I could hear. But this time, as I looked at the other men, I could tell by their faces that they were hearing it too. And the closer we got, the louder it grew. We docked close to the shore as we did the first time, but without the need for stealth. We tied off the rowboat, and as men who walked towards the gallows, we staggered towards the sound of the bell. The sound led us through the thick overgrowth to a small round circle where nothing grew and the ground was hard clay. We all gathered around as we had done in our dreams so many times before. We saw no bell and nothing materialized out of the air in the center of the circle. But we reached into our pockets and each of us produced a talisman or trinket of gold and held it out in our hand. The bell chimed on as we stood there. Unsure what to do next, we placed the items on the ground on the inside of the circle, one by one. Each time a token was placed on the ground, the chimes grew softer until the last item was placed in the circle, a gold-covered monkey skull. As it was laid down, the chiming ceased. We looked around with gaped jaws and disbelief across our faces, as if we had just come out of a trance. One man began chuckling, and then another. Before I knew what I was even feeling, I too found myself laughing until the entire assembly was roaring with laughter. It was the first time in almost 8 months that we had felt anything besides fear and doom in our hearts. Booming laughter turned to sobs for a few of the men before we left the circle. Clapping each other on the back, we headed toward the rowboat. I was shoving us off, and as my foot left the sand to step on, a loud distinctive ding could be heard. No more. It was enough to quell the mood in an instant, as if it was bidding us farewell and saying, "See you again soon." It was several years later that I heard the bell again, as I was coming off the rigging one day. My mind dismissed it as a bad memory, but my heart was also preparing for the trip back to Blacktooth Island, as we had named it. Whatever curse the men on the island had brought down on themselves had not died with them. And in our greed to take what was theirs, we took also their curse with us. Every time we make the journey back to pay the Bloodbell toll, the island will be changed a little bit. Sometimes that circle would be larger. Sometimes it would be smaller. One occasion there were footsteps in the clear circle one year. On another occasion, we found a galleon anchored out at the entrance of the cove. No souls on board and none on the island to be sure. The circle was very large that time. In all, I've made 11 payments to the Bloodbell since the day I heard its eerie chime. And each time I saw new faces of poor wretches who, like me, heard the chime of the bell and was now cursed, men and women. My trips are over now as I breathe my last in this small room. If I am consoled by the reality of my own end, it is that in death I may finally be free from the dreams of holding that Blacktooth up to that cursed bell. I pray you find such peace before your own end, but I doubt such freedom exists to those who have heard the Bloodbell's toll. By God's grace, at peace be I, A.J. Moody.